Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, we're going to do another episode of Bites and Nibbles with Breck today. Today we are going to make a macaroni and cheese recipe in the Dutch oven. I know I've made macaroni and cheese a bunch of times, but I love macaroni and cheese and I want to do as many things as I can in the Dutch oven so that I can kind of get an idea what that is good for, because I'm not using that as much as I'd like to, and I'd like to be able to get to the point where I use it more often. So let's take a look at the ingredients. Alright, so here are the ingredients for our mac and cheese in the Dutch oven. First off, obviously, some elbow macaroni, a couple of different styles of cheese. We get some Velveeta cheese, which is really good for cooking because it melts very smoothly and doesn't have a lot of oily substance that you get sometimes when you melt cheese. But for that flavor, we're also going to grate some sharp cheddar cheese. We need a little salt and pepper, some whole milk, some water, and I'm actually going to violate the recipe a little bit. I'm going to add about a quarter cup of tapatio to add a little extra flavor to it. I like it when my mac and cheese has a little extra burn. So let's get going on this. This is a really easy one. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3.5 cups of whole milk into the Dutch oven, 3 cups of water, and 1 16-ounce package of elbow macaroni. And we're going to bring this up to a boil on kind of a medium heat. And once we get it to boil, we're going to cook it at a low heat and let it simmer for about 15 minutes. And while that happens, I'm going to shred my cheddar cheese and cut my Velveeta cheese up into little chunks, because that's what the recipe says. Alright, starting to get to the point here where it's boiling a little bit. So I've reduced the heat and we're just going to let it simmer now for the next about 15 minutes. Now, I've made a decision since I shot the last scene. I was reading some of the suggestions they have for augmenting this recipe a little bit. And one of the suggestions they had was mixing in a little sliced ham. So when I put in the cheese, I am going to actually mix in a little bit of ham too, so that'll add to the flavor, and I think it'll improve it even a little bit more. I love macaroni and cheese as it is, but there's not much that isn't made better with ham, right? Now, as the macaroni absorbs the liquid in there, the liquid level is definitely going down. So we need to keep it moving all the time now, just so that the macaroni that's above the surface of the liquid gets pushed to the bottom and it all kind of gets an equal distribution of the liquid. Otherwise, you're going to have dry parts in your macaroni, and that ain't so good, right? But that's sort of expected. It's going to absorb all the liquid, so just be ready for that. Alright, my 15 minutes are done. The macaroni has pretty much absorbed most of the liquid in there, and it's looking nice and tender and ready to go. So I'm going to lower the heat down quite a bit, and we're going to start mixing in the final ingredients. That's going to be the cheeses, the ham, the salt and pepper, and the tapatio. So I'm going to start with the Velveeta cheese. We're just going to get that in there, just kind of all mix that in. This is going to make it good. Got all that in there. Let's mix that together really good. And then we're going to mix in the cheddar cheese, and I got that right here. And I'm going to mix this in a little bit at a time, just to give it kind of time to all kind of mix together. Throw in a handful and then mix it up, and throw in another handful, mix it up again. It's already starting to look pretty good, and it smells fantastic. Alright, let's get a little bit more in there. And mix it up. Oh, look at that. Look at how creamy that is. That looks really good. Throw in some more. Mix it in. Oh, I can't wait. This is going to be good. And we'll pour the rest of it in there. Oh yeah. And then let's add the ham. Come on, get off there. It doesn't want to go in. That's one of the things having to shoot video while you're cooking. Sometimes you need two hands, and that doesn't work too well. Oh yeah. Next I'm going to add my salt and pepper. Mix that all in. And then last but not least, we're going to add our tapatio. Now, like I said, this isn't something you have to do if you're not into that. I am. And it's going to just add the flavor just a little bit. Give it more of an orange tint. Ooh, yeah. That looks good. Now, one of the things I really kind of like about this recipe is that it's actually relatively simple to do. This isn't something you have to spend, hours and hours and hours preparing. Sometimes that can take a long time. I probably start to finish 30 minutes on this. So, all right, let's put that into a bowl and give that a taste test. That looks really good. All right, time for the all-important taste test. This is where the rubber really meets the road here. It looks really good, it smells really good, so I'm expecting this is going to be fantastic, but you never know, right? Oh yeah, really creamy. Haven't gotten any of the ham yet, and I might put a little bit more of the tapatio in there. It could probably use a little bit more of a burn, but it's a real good creamy cheddar cheesy flavored macaroni and cheese, and it's really tasty. So all right, yeah, very, very good. I've maybe got into an area that's got a little bit more of the tapatio flavor, so it is actually really good. It's got a good, nice little burn to it, more so than I originally thought. And so I'm probably good with the tapatio at about a quarter of a cup. Like I said, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do the ham. The recipe just is for the macaroni and cheese itself. I just kind of know what I like in macaroni and cheese and tend to augment it a little bit to my own tastes. Now, one of the things I noticed while I was preparing this, there isn't anything specifically that has to be done in the Dutch oven. I went and looked online for a recipe to do in the Dutch oven today and found that, but this could probably be done in any kind of a large kettle or pot that you have, and turn out just the same way. So don't feel that you have to use a Dutch oven on this if you don't want to. It should work in just about any kind of a large pot. So anyway, this is another good recipe. I recommend this one. I'll put the recipe in the description below. Check it out if you like. And until then, I think that's the end of our video. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Bon appetit.